Creative energy loves to travel, and today it's brought us to the beautiful city of Brooklyn, New York, where some of hip-hop's greatest moguls were born. I'm Alana Mercedes, and this is Club Creative, VA to the world. How are you today, Annabelle?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so excited. I was just telling her how this is a full circle moment, and it's just really cool to be sitting here with someone that inspired me so heavily. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Thank you for taking inspiration from That Good Sht.
Yes, of course. So before That Good Sht, let's start there. Of course, you had so many successes this year. You had the Grammys red carpet, which was super dope. You had Forbes 30 under 30, all of that. But taking it back to the beginning, when you were still in California, growing up, who were you, like as a kid?
I was like a very adventurous little kid. I did a lot of like sports, and I was always like in the ocean, like swimming and surfing. And I always loved music too. Like both of my parents were always playing a lot of music for me. So yeah, I don't know. I was just like hanging out, running around outside, listening to music. Yeah.
Okay, definitely. And I know every little kid has like their hobbies. So when did you start taking music like seriously, like it really like affects your life?
I feel like when I was around like middle school and I got really into One Direction.
Oh God.
So when I started to, that and like Justin Bieber, like I started out as a fangirl to One Direction and Justin Bieber, and that's when I was like, this is taking over my life. Yeah.
Believer, directioner.
Yes.
I feel like that's like the perfect cocktail for like becoming a cult music person.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when did you decide that you wanted to obviously fast forwarding, when did you want to up and move to Brooklyn from California?
My stepmom lived in New York in her 20s and always talked about it as this like really amazing experience. And I also was really drawn to just like the music scene here. Hip hop is kind of like the core of all the music I share and listen to. And I'm like, why would I not move to like the birthplace of hip hop and like really just immerse myself in like the community out there? So
have you been able to either like run into, meet, interact with any of those like hip hop moguls?
I feel like I haven't run into a ton of the like OG hip hop moguls as much. There's definitely been like some people I've met, but I think what I was like most interested in was like connecting with the innovators out here. Like I've been able to connect with people like Mike, who's a huge hip hop innovator out here. I've like built relationships with a lot of really cool places that are becoming like new centers for like the hip hop community, like this record store, Loudmouth Brooklyn.
Oh, yeah.
I've been able to connect with a lot of, just like the innovators of kind of this next like generation of hip hop coming out of New York, which is really cool.
That's dope. And then like, so when you did get here and you started immersing yourself in these places, did you feel any kind of shift happening in your love for music and like wanting to create your platform? Like how did that affect you?
Yeah, I feel like my love for music just got so much deeper moving out here and just meeting all different types of artists and people making music. I feel like I just continue to learn more and more every day, like how deeply music affects people and what it means to people. So I feel like it's only strengthened my love for music.
Did you start That Good Sht?
I started the page in Oregon, and then we did our first few shows in LA, but the growth really started happening when I moved out to New York.
Okay.
And that's because I started interviewing artists, and I feel like that's like a really core part of what That Good Sht is. I had done a couple like artist interview things like in LA, but it really started clicking in the way that like we do our interviews now when I moved out to New York. Like the year I moved here, I interviewed JID, and that was like the first big interview for me. And then like everything really skyrocketed after that.
I remember actually watching that interview, so I'm gagged that that was when like one of the ones that made it really blow up. And That Good Sht, it is more of like a community. Are there parts or traces of yourself that you might find inside of that community that you've created?
100%. I feel like our community is like literally a reflection of like who I am and like my attitude towards music. Like I remember like growing up being in high school and in college and just always being so enthusiastic about music and always trying to find people around me who were listening to what I was listening to and like wanted to talk about music with the same enthusiasm I had. And everyone who's part of the That Good Sht community like has that enthusiasm and has that just like deep love and excitement about music. So I feel like I see myself in everyone who's like part of our community.
Yeah. And then like being out here, you're able to interact with that community pretty often through like your events and everything like that. So what is it like when you meet someone like who, I want to say supporters, fans, whatever, like how is it meeting them face to face?
It's a really beautiful experience. I feel like I get excited whenever I get to meet like a creator that I've followed for a long time or just someone who's inspired me. And so knowing that there's so many people who are in like that position when they meet me is just like a really humbling and beautiful experience. I feel very like I can get really depleted by this work, and just like the music industry can be a lot, and I feel like having those moments with people who support me is what recharges me and reminds me like why I do what I do and makes you want to keep going. So it's really special.
Yes, that is so beautiful. And let's dive into that a little, because I have heard that experience from a lot of people where it's like it can be draining. So what do you do, of course, outside of meeting your supporters, in order to refill yourself? Because I won't call it creative burnout, but sometimes I feel like that's a thing, or it can be a thing. So
Totally.
like, how do you recharge that part of you?
It's come down to like health is really important to me, like moving my body and working out when I can to relieve stress, sleeping. I sleep way more than I used to. Like I feel like sleep has been really important for me. And also just having friendships outside of music, like really staying in touch with like my childhood friends and my family. Just I feel like whenever shit starts to hit the fan, I just take a breath, sleep, and talk to my family, and like everything's okay. And also getting out into nature, I feel like puts everything into perspective for me, especially being in the city doing this work can be a lot of chaos. And so I feel like just being out in some trees always helps me like get back to where I need to be.
What kind of influences from home did you bring here? And then what from here has influenced you most as far as your career goes, your music, even your choice of people you hang out with? Like, what kind of differences have you seen?
Definitely. So I feel like the kind of music taste I brought from the West Coast out here with me was obviously I feel like West Coast hip hop is a very big part of who I am, and like West Coast R&B, and so I feel like that taste has stayed with me and really influenced me. And also like I grew up listening to a lot of more like indie music and like this random genre called like beach goth music that I was really into
so
from like Long Beach, like SoCal vibes, like these old bands like the Growlers that I used to be really into. So that's like also part of my taste that I feel like I brought with me. I grew up with like a surfer dad who listened to a lot of Beach Boys, so I brought that with me. And so that's kind of what I brought from home. And then since I've been here, outside of like the hip hop influence, which I kind of talked about, I also feel like a big impact New York has given me is my love for electronic music. Like I always loved like dance music and I was into it, but like moving out here, getting into DJing and just meeting more electronic producers and artists, I've fallen like head over heels in love with all different types of electronic music. So that's been like a big thing for me since coming out here.
Traveling back to LA and performing there, DJing there, what kind of, I guess, would you say feeling is evoked from seeing that your following is literally like everywhere? It's there, but it's also home where you grew up.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's really special to be able to like return to my like home city where I grew up and have people care about what I'm doing. I feel the impact like most there. I feel like because that's where I was like a young kid going to concerts and like wanting to get involved in the music scene. And so yeah, it's really rewarding and special to like go home and have that support.
Yes. And then you were home again for the Grammys, which was insane to me. So how was it being or I want to say transitioning, but just seeing yourself beginning at That Good Sht and now you're like interviewing on the Grammys red carpet? That's insane.
That was like that was like the craziest day of my entire life, to be honest. Like, yeah, I've dreamed to go to the Grammys for a while, and that was like a big goal of mine was to do interviews at the Grammys, and I was really surprised that I got the opportunity this year. So yeah, it was like super surreal. Like, I have no words.
Did you meet anyone that you've been like wanting to meet ever?
Holy shit. I met a bunch of people. I talked to Pink Pantheress for like 2 seconds. I didn't get to interview her, but I asked her for an interview and then she had to walk away and do something. But that was really crazy. That was cool. I got to meet Kehlani, which was really amazing because I grew up on her music. Yeah. So that was special. I also got to meet FKA Twigs like
That's
2
insane.
seconds after she won her Grammy, and I was gagged. It was amazing.
I bet y'all were both gagged because she just won a Grammy. You're meeting her. It's like, let's share this moment.
We were mutually gagged. It was really special. Yeah.
And then, of course, how can I forget? You did Camp Flog I think it was 2 years now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Covering that media, meeting those artists again, like what kind of lessons were you able to learn experiencing that, covering a festival in general? What was that like?
Yeah, I feel like covering festivals is really fun, but there's something really special about covering Camp Flog just like with the energy. Like it feels like a familial affair. It's just like all the artists are like artists I listen to, and a lot of them are artists I've interviewed before, and then everyone in the media are like all my friends because they really support like up and coming media outlets. So it's just like very special. I feel like a big lesson I'm learning with covering Camp Flog because we're doing so many artist interviews that weekend is just like all about efficiency and like how trying to make sure that like our team can get as much out of that experience as possible while doing as little work as possible. So like we have this method where during Camp Flogna, we film our artist interviews in 3 to 5 minutes and we post it with like no cuts immediately live from the festival. And one might think that's a little crazy, but we kind of just like tuned in our interview style to be really concise, really quick. And that way we can live post from the festival. And when we leave, our work for the weekend is done. So that's been a big lesson, is just learning how to be like efficient in that way.
You also got Forbes 30 under 30, another incredible accomplishment. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And I know you weren't expecting that either. So tell me, like, what kind of feeling that evoked?
That was also really crazy. I feel like, but one of the first ever like articles that was written up about me when I started on TikTok was in Forbes, written by my friend Riley, and that it just kind of felt like full circle to have the Forbes 30 under 30 moment, because like that first recognition from Forbes is what made me be like, okay, like I feel like I could really like make it in this career. And I feel like the last year I've been like fighting really hard to just like gain recognition and just like feel like this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, and that the industry like wants me here, that like I've been trying to find my place. And I feel like that recognition just made me feel like really reassured that like I'm going the right direction, and that I have support from like such an incredible publication like Forbes, and to be amongst so many other like cool, innovative people. Like, yeah, it was really just an honor. It's really crazy.
In that, I know obviously validation from others isn't everything, but I know it felt good to get that. Were there ever moments in your, like, I guess, building up to this moment here, where you felt doubt or felt like maybe this isn't what I'm supposed to do?
All the time, on a weekly basis. I'm like, should I quit? Like, fuck. But I feel like that's part of any creative's journey. Like, self-doubt is natural. I know I have really high expectations for myself, and sometimes I doubt if I can meet those expectations. But I feel like every time like you push through and you like reach a goal you didn't think you could reach, or you like make it through an obstacle you thought was too hard, like you get more sure of yourself that you can make it. So yeah, I feel like I experience doubt all the time, but can't let it stop you.
Yes, you keep going regardless.
Yeah.
How would you say that your identity has shifted from the moment that you decided to step over here into Brooklyn? Like, what parts of you have changed or been affected just with the growth that you've experienced in such a fast period?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there are some parts of me that have changed wildly in the last few years, but also I feel like I've relatively stayed the same. I feel like I've always made it a point to, because I've realized how much the music industry can change people. So I work really hard to try and stay grounded and kind of stay myself. But I do think I've become a lot braver. I've become a lot tougher living in New York City, for sure. I think all these accomplishments have just made me feel more confident in like my taste, in my ideas, and in my like leadership abilities. So I just feel like I've grown in all of those aspects. So I'm really like proud of my growth, and I'm grateful for my growth. But I do feel just like the same little girl who like loves going to music festivals and making playlists. So yeah.
I mean, but basically that's what you're doing. You're living her dreams.
Period.
So yeah, that is amazing.
Me at 16 would think I'm cool as shit, which is why I do everything.
Very
so,
good.
Yeah.
Yes. Is there anything coming up that you're excited about that you can share with everyone? Anything you're working on?
Yeah, That Good Sht compilation album coming this year. Gonna be really amazing. We've got like a really big event in downtown Brooklyn in May with a cool organization called Brick, where we're gonna take over their HQ building and program 3 rooms of music. So that'll be cool. We're back at Camp Flogna again this year. Hopefully spending a couple months in London. So hopefully we can get TGS activated out in London later this year. But yeah, we'll see what else comes.
Exciting stuff. If your message could be given to the world, to someone who was struggling maybe with identity, because you've remained yourself at your core at the end of the day through all of your accomplishments and everything that you've done, what would you tell someone who was like, I guess, fighting to remain themselves throughout what they're doing?
Yeah, I feel like my advice would be like, the world is so hard on us. Like, there's so much pressure on us from every angle. And at the end of the day, like, you have to be your own biggest fan and your own biggest advocate. Like, just be kind to yourself. Like, if you catch yourself having negative voices in your head, like, you're, at the end of the day, like, you're in control of your thoughts, and your thoughts shape your reality. So just like have a kind conversation with yourself in your head, think positively. Literally just optimism, I feel like, has been such a helpful tool for me. So yeah, just cultivate a kind relationship with yourself, whether that's through journaling, affirmations, moving your body and working out. Just, yeah, love on yourself as much as you can. It's really important.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Annabelle, for sitting down with me today. Beautiful studio. Obviously, you guys have a lot of things going on in here. But like I said, huge fan. Love what you're doing. Keep it up.
Thank you.
And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for joining me for Club Creative, VA to the World.